Hi everyone, and welcome to my very first painting tutorial. Thank you to everyone who clicked on this video. I'm very excited to start painting with you today. So in today's video, I will be showing you a quick and easy way to paint a beautiful night sky. Our first step is going to be to paint our background. I am currently using a navy blue and will also be using a dark plum color. You can use whatever colors you want for your background. However, you are going to want to stick to just 2 or 3 colors so your background doesn't get too busy. Here I'm mixing in that dark plum color straight into my blue by pulling my brush straight across the canvas to get that nice blend. Don't worry if you can see your brush lines or have little pieces of canvas sticking through, because in a moment we're going to be adding a texture to the background that'll cover that all up. Once your background is fully covered, we are going to be using this sponge to add our texture. You're going to want to use a little bit of that blue that we added to our background, mix in just a tiny bit of white, and lightly dab it over your wet paint on your canvas. And you're just going to do this all over the canvas. You can drag that blue down into your purple, and when you get down to your purple, you can drag that up into your blue just to get that texture and get a really nice blend going. Here I've added that purple to my sponge, and I'm covering all the purple I've already added on my canvas and pulling that up into my blue. Make sure you don't dab too much over and over again on your canvas, otherwise you're going to start pulling that paint off again. Once you are happy with your background, we are going to start on the stars, which is always my favorite part of the process. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a little bit of water, mix it in with your white paint, not so it's straight water, but just so it's a little runnier. You're going to load up your paint bristles with that water and flick it onto the canvas. This is personally my favorite way to create stars because it paints a splatter of little stars. However, another way you can make stars is by, once again, loading up those paint bristles with that watery white and hitting your brush or tapping your brush onto a second brush. And that makes bigger, more dramatic stars. And I will be showing you that technique here in just a moment. Once you have your stars on the background, you are going to want to let your background dry. Once your background is dry, you can add a couple of twinkly stars, if you like, as I call them. And how you do that is you start with the middle and make a plus sign. And you're going to pull from the middle out to your 4 corners. And then to make the X, you are going to pull the middle to your 4 corners to make your X. And then you get a little twinkle star. You can add a few of these. I wouldn't add too many, otherwise it's going to overwhelm your painting. And now I'm taking that same white and I am starting on the moon. I'm painting a little crescent moon. You could paint a full moon, a half moon, whatever makes you happy. If your background is too wet, it is going to blend in with the paint in the background, which is why it's very important to make sure your background is dry before you start this step. And if you're having the problem that I'm having right now, where your background is just showing through a lot, you can paint a layer, let it dry, and then paint another white layer over it, and rinse and repeat until you have a solid white moon. Since the moon is not a smooth surface, a perfectly smooth surface, you're going to want to add some texture. So I took that same white and I am just dabbing it on my moon to give it that rough looking texture. My moon was looking a little bit flat, so I took some of that blue that I added to the background and I just started dabbing that into the inner part of my crescent moon just to create a little bit of shape and shading for my moon. Now we're going to add our trees to the background. First, we're going to decide where we want our trees. To do this, you are going to load up black paint onto your bristles and paint lines where you want the middle of your trees to be. You can paint as many or as little trees as you want. Make sure to paint these in varying heights because, of course, not all your trees are going to be the same height. And also paint them different distances from each other. Don't worry if your lines aren't completely straight. Trees are not perfect, and we're also going to be covering a lot of this up. Once we've decided where our trees are going to be, we are going to start painting the leaves of the tree. You're going to want to start at the top of your black line and you are going to pull it down and out. I actually dab instead of pulling my brush to get a rough texture because your tree leaves are not completely smooth. You're going to want a rough texture. So just dab down and out in this little triangle shape. And make sure to leave space between your branches. That way you can see your sky peeking through. The farther down you go, the more out you're going to want to pull, so it gets wider as you get closer to the base. I'm also dabbing a little stronger the closer I get to the base. That way there is more black being put on the canvas. It's getting darker and fuller. Remember, as you're adding your branches, it is easier to start small and add more. Once you put the paint on the canvas, it's a lot harder to take it off or to fix it. You are going to repeat this step for each one of your trees, and don't worry about overlapping your trees. Your trees are going to overlap, and that's just going to look natural. And that is it, guys. You have painted your beautiful night sky. Now you're going to let your painting dry and sign your name on your piece of art. Thank you guys for joining me today. If you enjoyed this tutorial, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you guys and have a great week.